Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Power Hour, another session on season one of Power Hour TV with your host, Lauren Powers. In case I forget my name, I have to wear it on my shirt. Anyways, I'm so excited for our next guest. When I met her at a networking event, we bonded immediately. I was calling her rock star from the first time I said hello. You'll see why soon. But I love her message, and it's very similar to mine. It's like, why blend in when you can stand out? And she's built a whole program around it. She's a badass. She's my friend, Miss Ann Bennett. Welcome to the show.
Lauren, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you and all of your fabulous listeners.
Yes. Welcome. Here we are. Yay. I know, I love it. Look at her.
Well, your living room, where I work, practically is my living room.
It's awesome. I love your jacket. See why I call her rock star? Look at her. She's got the hair, the jacket, she always wears leather and boots, and she's awesome. We're in the E-Women Network together, and we've kind of bonded through that. And we see each other all the
One rock star saw the other rock star across the room and just went.
Yeah, right. Well, when you find your people, it's like you resonate with them, and you're like, energetically connect, and then you do things like this together. So it's so good. I'm so good. And I'm so honored that you're here because I know you have a lot to share. You have been doing this for quite a while, and let's talk about it. Like, who's Ann Bennett? What's she up to? What does she do? And the show is how to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. And so with all three of those things, the triangle, instead of sacrificing one for the other, we really are talking to female entrepreneurs out there on how they can do this. And what you offer, your branding techniques, and is right in line with that, on how to be wealthy and happy. And of course, you and I both put our health first, so it's all good.
Right. Health is the number one thing.
That's right.
I was saying to a client of mine, her number one objective, even though she's all wrapped up in how do I make more money and how do I get more clients, is like, listen, your number one thing to do is to have impeccable self-care. That you are loving yourself in your body, what you eat, how you sleep, who you love, all of that makes up your environment for success.
Thank you for saying that, because I've been preaching that to everybody. We've got to put our health first because of all this wealth. We deal with so many women entrepreneurs that spend so much time building their business that they forget about their health. So then they build all this wealth, and then they have to spend it later trying to get their health.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's the entrepreneurial dilemma, right? We're all like, I got to work, and do this thing. And it's like, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if you could just enjoy every moment of it? So it didn't really appear like work. It was more like, wow, this is what I do. This is what I'm naturally doing because I have a vision for myself. I have a purpose. I have a passion and a purpose that moves me through space instead of this nagging, I have to have more clients, I have to make more money, which never goes away. What I can tell, my friends that are millionaires are like, yeah, it's the same thing. That voice in your head.
Correct.
But what if you could just enjoy being yourself, fully expressing who you are, and having that be what you base your business on? So, Lauren, when I work with people, we work around going vertically, like who are they really? Mm-hmm. How can they allow themselves to express that? Because as women, I think we've been trained to, unless you're a real rebel like you and me, right? But our society trains us to look a certain way, feel a certain way, act a certain way.
Right.
Because if you go to Europe, it's totally different because their culture has a different flavor to it. But here in the States, it's, looks a certain way. And I think when I work with people, like the biggest thing is saying, you know what, you can make money being unapologetically you.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to pretend to be somebody else. In fact, I just talked to somebody today who was like, well, that marketing thing, I'm not pushy. I'm not like that. I don't do it that way. I don't know about it. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that.
Exactly. We don't have to be salesy or pushy, right? When
Yeah.
you're being authentic. I always say too, Anne, is like, it takes more energy to be someone that you're not than to just be authentic on who you are, right? It's,
Exactly.
it's so crazy. But how many
Yeah.
people, yeah, how many people though always try to, they compare and compete with others, especially women. You know what I mean? We always want to be someone that we're not, or we try to emulate that. And the media is very guilty of brainwashing us to think that way. But it's like, just be yourself. It's so much easier,
It's
right?
the best brand ever because
Right?
it's you. And everyone's like, well, and I'm not that unique or I'm not that
Oh,
quirky. We talk about quirks and what your point of view and how you see the world, all the things that make up how your world shows up for you is
mhm.
really important when you're talking about a brand and when you're being yourself. It's like, how some things just totally like make you hop and mad. You can't believe people act that way, or idiosyncrasy
Triggers.
make you crazy, right? Or you might be, really quirky about certain things. I know that you're always saying you're such a girly girl, which I love, right? Because you're like, rah, and then, oh, I'm such a girly girl. And I think,
Right. Inside, yeah, I'm a marshmallow. What you see on the outside is not who I am on the inside, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
and
Yeah.
it's what makes us lovable
Mm,
really is the vulnerability that we allow ourselves to express to others. And then people are like,
absolutely.
wow, you just make this connection. And that it's that connection that's so precious and what people are really after. Michael Beckwith is always saying, we're in a high tech, low touch society. And even now with COVID, I mean, it's even worse, right?
Works, right?
No touching unless you are lucky enough to live with someone. But I know you have your dog.
Yes, that's it.
And I'm like, I have my backyard and my flowers. But I think
The connections are so important.
so important right now to connect with people,
Hmm.
really be yourself. I
Absolutely.
mean, brilliant branding is just allowing yourself to be present and really be who you are.
Perfect. So your whole business is based on finding out who you are yourself and then building a brand around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really based on what makes Lauren Lauren. Like what are
Show's
the
not long
unique,
enough for that.
yeah, the life experiences or the things that have broken your heart, the
Mm,
things that make you really angry, or I like to say, piss you off. Those are it's the 1% of your personality that actually distinguishes you from another person. Because we all have
okay.
Maslow's hierarchy of need, eating, sleeping, drinking, being in communities, having relationships. We all have that in common. But really, what distinguishes us and makes us different is looking at all those ways that you interpret the world. Like, I don't see the world the way you do, and you don't see the world the way I do because our experiences are different. How
Right.
we've interpreted that is different. But when you can really understand your story and stories that you have, you
Hmm.
start to, like when I work with people, we look at themes.
Okay.
Like I heard this recently, and I love this. It's like if you listen the top 5 movies that you love of all time that you love, there's a theme that runs through the whole thing. And when you can
Right.
see it, it's actually the theme of your life.
Wow. Okay.
I have an exercise I do with people, which is like, it's 10 questions. It's called the Unleash Your Rebel Voice. And it's all about who's your favorite character in history and why? Who's your favorite cartoon character and why? Who's your, all those kinds of things, because you can't really, even as little children, we are attracted to the things that reflect who we are.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like, who's your favorite cartoon character?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Great. So Wonder
her
Woman.
golden lasso, and she makes people tell the truth because I'm all about the truth and being authentic and honest. And she represents power and women, of course. And she was the epitome back then.
Right.
You know,
She was like, talk about unique and stood out, right? She was a freedom
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, look at you. That's great.
Oh yeah, I have. I've been wearing the costume. I found a picture of me since 1982, dressed up in full costume as Wonder Woman. I wasn't even a bodybuilder then. I just wear for Halloween.
Who
And then,
you are.
right? It's so crazy. Now I've created from that. I created my own character, as you know.
Your own persona, your own, you know,
my own style. That's right. But I like that. So you find through all these different questions, you dive deep into the person, what makes them unique, and then build their branding around it.
Right. Then we extract, what I call extract, but it's more like we illuminate and translate what that is, so that how that relates directly to their business or whatever their career or whatever they're involved in that they want to create a brand around. It's not about, I often say, it's not about putting lipstick on a pig, dressing something up to be something that's not. It's about really magnifying what's already there so that people can really, ultimately it's about loving yourself, all the parts that maybe you hide or you don't want people to know, oh, I have a Barbie doll collection. Or whatever.
Do you have a Barbie doll collection, Anne?
I threw my Barbie out. My mother was like a Virgo, so everything was clean, you know, like push it out. I'm like,
my mom's a Virgo too. No clutter.
Yeah, they don't like any clutter. So of course, I'm a little bit of a you know, being the artist, I collect things and I leave them around and they percolate till they get used in an idea. Right?
Okay.
Things like that. But I think, we all have these different things. One thing that I can say about myself that's a little quirky is I thought I was going to be a Broadway singer. At one point, one of the things I wanted to be as a kid was a Broadway singer. And so I used to listen on the hi-fi, that'll throw you back, before stereo. My parents collected all these musicals, Broadway musicals, and I used to just listen to them over and over. So people catch me sometimes in the shower or running around and I'll be singing, you know, I gotta wash that man right out of my hair. You know, I'll be like, and they'll be like, you know the whole song, you know all the words. And I was like, yeah.
Okay, that's cute. That's
cute. You know, there's just things like that that can actually be woven into your brand, woven into the way you communicate, brought up in ways that at first glance don't look like they relate, when they actually can be very relatable and have people connect with you. So now what I just did was like, everybody who likes musicals is going to fall in love with me, essentially. They're going to relate to me.
Sure.
You know? So they're going to go, oh yeah, I'm with her, you know, I do that too, or I love music, or, you know, whatever it is.
A common connection.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's about connecting and being real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just really being real. I think so much of what we've done as kids and as we've developed, and you know, society's telling us how to act and do and be, put on these things that we think we actually are. And it was kind of like what you were saying earlier. If you can go back to what you were like when you were 5 years old, that's pure juice. That is golden. That is the essence, really, of who you are. And beyond that is school and what people told you to do. And, you know, and I'm not saying everybody is an extrovert, because they're not. There's, you know, lots of different levels of personality style. But when you have a brand that's built around that, it's built around you, it doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert. What
Okay.
matters really is that underlying theme and the underlying message to what your purpose is and what you're here to do.
Awesome. And so it's called Rebel. What's your company? What's the company called?
Renegade Branding.
Renegade.
Is what I call my company, but
Because you're a rebel, renegade. Okay.
Rebel, renegade, and revolutionary is like you're a higher level. When you like, you have a lot of revolutionaries and renegades on your show. You know,
Absolutely.
rebels are more like they have a passion. They know they're here for something more than whatever it is they're doing.
Exactly.
And they have a passion. It's more about them. Renegades, it's like it starts to be about other people.
Focus out.
So you're starting to move more in your purpose. The purpose is about other people. A passion is what you want to express.
Personal.
So
Okay.
branding, the passion is really the brand, and then the expression is the rest of the pieces that go with it, that helps bring it to the world so that people can see you and identify you immediately, so they know. Like when they see you, Lauren, they know a whole lot about you right up front, right? It's like, it's
Bam.
not a conversation like, oh, what's Lauren up to? That Lauren, she just looks like everybody else.
Hardly.
No, not going to happen. And
Well, I lived my whole life trying to stand out. So that's why I related to you so quickly. You know, my whole topic is dare to be different, stand in your truth. You know, why blend in when you can stand out? Like, these are things I've been saying for a long time, but now we're just putting words to it. And now I see it's a common thread, and it helps for a lot of women, especially in this business, because it is competitive, that we want to stand out and we want to, you know, get our message out and explain our purpose through our passions, and be branded in, like you said, be branded in by that is real, vulnerable, and authentic, and it creates those connections so that we can make change for the world, really, and attract people
really
that
about the level of impact that you want to make.
exactly.
And that impact I'm not saying it has to be like Gandhi or Mother Teresa. I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying there is an impact that you know you want to make, whether it's with your family, your children, people in your community, if it's national, global, whatever it is. Obviously it takes courage.
Huge.
You gotta be brave to break the rules, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You have to risk. You know, Sandra Yancey talks about risk, and Jenna Rodriguez talks about being a brave master. I talk about being fierce. I mean, and it's all surrounded under that word courage, and being courageous and willing to do this. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So we have to really apply ourselves.
Unapologetically you.
I love that. I wrote that down. I'm taking notes, guys. Take notes. And for our listeners,
idea, it's like, oh, I hate that. Oh, I love that. You're like, when you're little, you're just like that, right? You're like, wah, I fell down, and the next second you're like laughing. You're like, oh, I don't like that. You know, oh, I love that. I love that. It's just kind of
innocent
expression that isn't
kind of tainted by society.
Guess, you know, there's a repression that occurs as we grow up. And well, you know, I'm an adult now, and you know, I have a PhD in psychology, and psychologists only act a particular way, right? Things like that. Because I work with a lot of people like that. They're very accomplished, the brainiacs.
Mind,
you know? And speaking, brainiacs that's super cool. I love that. I call them the geeks, you know. Those are the geeks. They're really cool. But, you know, we don't connect with our heads. We connect with our hearts. Mm-hmm. And then we rationalize our choices with our heads. Oh, that was a good decision because, or I need to do that because. It's not as intuitive or as instant as using your heart to make decisions. You know, that person's good for me, or this is the right step for me right now. We don't, you know, we get all up in here. And I think for a lot of us, myself included, you know, I can lose my way when I get up there in my brain about, oh, I'm supposed to look like this, or I should be further along in my career, or I should be this, or I should be that, or it's
called negative self-talk. Negative self, turn the channel, turn in the negative to positive.
Like, yeah, if you really start to listen, I say turn the volume up so you can hear it.
Okay.
Can't hear that negative self-talk. We're just like, la, 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 la. You can just think that we're going on as every day, but it's all going on back here.
Mm-hmm.
If you can turn it up, you can hear it. And then you can go, hey, wait a minute. That's not even my voice. I don't know whose voice that is. You know, a lot of times for me, it'll be like my parents' voice. My father was a perfectionist of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was always not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And, you know, so I have those tapes to work with.
Yeah.
To be with, you know, to like unravel, if you will. So I can actually make the impact that I'd like to make, because those voices are not going to help me do that.
But I like that. So instead of turning it down and shutting it off, you amplify it so you can acknowledge it and then shift or pivot what you're hearing and realize it's not even you at all. And
exactly,
that
most of the time it's not your voice. It's society's voice, the minister's voice, the teacher's voice, somebody else's voice that you have put in your brain and you repeat it, which I say to people, we're always hypnotizing ourselves. I'm hypnotizing myself when I say the same thing over and over and over and over and over. That's like being hypnotized.
Interesting. Well, we also can make ourselves right. Like if you tell yourself negative self-talk and then that actually happens, then you're right.
See, and I'm totally right.
Yeah, see, yeah, I'm not worthy, or no, I don't deserve that, or I'm not enough, and all these things. You can sell yourself on your own BS, if you will. Right?
It's just a belief system, this BS that runs in the background.
In the back.
It's really not anything to do with who you actually are.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, and I mean, there's so many tools now and so many different coaches and mentors and speakers and all this that, like yourself, that dive into that and kind of recreate or reprogram that negative self-talk into positive and productive, and finding that passion and being authentic and being vulnerable. I mean, I'm going through it right now personally. I've had it myself, and I've never been more vulnerable in my life. I'm crying at everything.
I remember talking about that. You're really expanding and going into places that are uncomfortable.
Yep, I'm getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's not always easy. But you have to be willing. That's right. But you have to be open and willing. And I think that's the key, and it's the common thread through like everybody on this whole show, Anna. I've talked to over 25 experts in this area. And the common word from everybody is we have a choice. We can choose what we do with this information that we have, and this negative self-talk or whatever it is that they're expert in. It's a choice, and every day we have a choice of how we want to handle these things. Like even right now, we're in this crazy virus pandemic, worldwide issue, and we can choose to either be a victim or look at it as an opportunity. And like we're doing right now, we're putting together a big show, we're speaking out, we're sharing our passions, we're sharing our expertise, and we're just focusing out, like you said. And I like that the passion isn't for yourself, but the purpose is for focusing out
there
and being with, yes. And it's so powerful. That connection is huge, and just leading with the heart and being generous and just sharing what you're meant to do on this world. And a lot of people don't know. And I think that's where you come in. You can really, through your questions and all these things that you develop, this program is really make the person dive deep and figure out what is their purpose, what is their passion, what are they meant to do, and start applying it and be branded as this specialist in something they may not even know, right? I think that's really exciting stuff. This is why you're successful.
And it's not hard, at least for me. But, it's not for other people that they don't see themselves. Like I always say, you can't see your own eyebrows, right? So the reason you want to be with a mentor or a coach or someone else is to have someone to hold you bigger than you already know yourself to be. Someone that holds you bigger. And I know you have those people in your life, Lauren.
Absolutely.
I have those people in my life. When I call and they're telling me who they think I am, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so big. You know, I'm like, you know, sometimes I find myself fighting for my smallness, you know. I guess that's part of being a human being. But, you know, it's like, oh, that's too big.
But you're a rock star, Ann Bennett. You got to own it. You step into it. You speak all over the world now. You're so busy. You're changing people's lives. And, you know, and I get it because I've played small my whole life. And now I know I'm meant for more. And all these coaches and mentors that I've sought out now, and most of them are on the show, they're all say the same thing. So I'm like, okay, well, this must be true. But you just have to own it, though. I think that's the missing key is that self-love.
It's
that
totally
self-worth.
The key is owning all the parts of you. So often I say to my clients and myself, of course, because it's all about me.
That's why I love you.
It's all about me, and it's
yes, bam.
Right? It's all about you guys. So it's like it's all about me. But you know, when things go wrong, when I'm disappointed or something doesn't turn out the way I want it to, and I start to go into that place where those voices start. Then I say, oh, this is an opportunity for me to love myself more. I can now love myself even greater than I already am, and just take that in instead of trying to like push it away or push it out. It's like embracing, receiving, embracing, and being curious. Being curious, I think, is really powerful. Like, oh, look, I feel invaluable. Oh, I feel like I'm not valuable. Or, oh, I'm embarrassed. What is that? Or, you know what I mean? Like, instead of being like, in this resistance, which we naturally all have that. But if you can get curious, it opens up a place for you to actually, everything is a paradox, right? So it's like, I'm hard, I'm soft, I'm brave, I'm scared. It's like, it's all the same thing. You know, I laugh when people say, oh, you know, you're not really, fear is false evidence appearing real. I was like, no, it's evidence appearing real in this moment. Right. It might not be real in a big reality, but it appears real. So it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I know you know this, Lauren. It's like, whatever you tell yourself is what actually is. That is the truth in the moment of what's actually going on for you.
That's right.
When you step back and go, oh, I have a fear about this because it's unknown. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm out of control. I don't, you know, I've made all these plans and then all of a sudden it drops out, which is the entrepreneurial journey, by the way. It's
you
like,
just do it all over again.
Taking risks and then having it fall on your face, but moving forward, you know, it's like not stopping, but moving forward. It's all so juicy because it's the human experience for everyone. I personally believe that entrepreneurs are taking more risks than anyone else in general.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the nature of the spirit that wants to do that, right? The spirit that wants to step out and do something that hasn't been done before, or create something out of nowhere and then have it impact other people. All of that is I just think it's what we're here for.
Exactly, but it's not for everyone. You know what I mean? It takes a special, unique person to even want to do the work that we're talking about. So I think when you get a coach,
when they've been called.
Yeah, exactly. It's that.
Reluctant, you know, I'm like the reluctant entrepreneur.
Of course you are. Rebel.
I know, like, I can't be like, I'm an entrepreneur. I had a lemonade stand when I was a little kid. No, I didn't. I didn't. I played with them outside.
Right.
You know, I didn't have a job till I was in high school. Whatever. But you know, I mean, I love those stories. I think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was never like that.
Gotcha. But then again, so you can choose, and it doesn't matter. My favorite saying is, it's never too late to look great from the inside out. You know what I mean? It's an inside job. Building the body and all this outer stuff, that's just the shell. It's
Right.
who we are inside. And that's, you know, that has been my passion and purpose, to really make people believe that there's a better version of themselves from the inside out. The body is just extra, but it's putting that health and that mindset and that self-love and self-worth, putting yourself first, making your health your top priority, and then building the wealth. And then, you know, you put all three sides together. That's why the show is based on that: health, wealth, and happiness, because that's what it's all about, right? And not sacrificing one for the other. And I've talked to so many people, Ann, that, you know, entrepreneurs, that they think they have to you know, just build their wealth, and they sacrifice their health. And we find that that's the most common thing, is what I found. You know what I mean? And then they're
I
not
don't need to sleep. I love that one.
So which one?
I don't need to sleep.
Oh yeah, right.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Sleep
like,
when
you're
I'm
gonna be dead sooner than you want to be.
Yeah, they're exactly right. Well, be careful what those thoughts are. Like we just talked about, how powerful our brain is, and those thoughts become actions, and action, you know, the words. So we got to be careful of those thoughts. And it's kind of, you've been talking about this whole time. It is impactful of what we tell ourselves and what we think about ourselves, and then those actions that come out of our own thoughts we can make it real. We can be either right or wrong, but it's what we tell ourselves. It's so critical, and people know this. This seems so basic, but it's not. It's very it's a global problem, really. I mean,
think, you know, what happens, Lauren, is it's common knowledge. It becomes common knowledge, but it's not common practice. So just because you know something, that is not power. That is, you know, a lot of stuff. I feel like that myself sometimes. I know a lot of stuff, but you know, it's when it's put into action.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, that from, like, you can know a whole lot about bodybuilding, training, mindset, all that, but
if you don't do it,
you got to do it, and you got to see for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, if I do it this way, or I know what happens for a lot of rebels, myself included, is we start to see, oh, gee, I make this really hard. Oh, I'm addicted to struggle. Oh, why does it have to be that difficult? And it actually doesn't. Like when I talk to some of my friends that are real mindset coaches and stuff, they're like, they laugh. They're like, oh, I got that. Let me fix that for you in 5 minutes. It's something I have possibly struggled with my entire life, right? And boom, it just changes.
Fix it. I like that. Quick fix. Boom.
Yeah, it's like boom, you know. And I think,
what's their number?
I'll tell you later. No, you probably had them on the show. I'm sure.
Exactly. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure you did. So it's like, I love that. I love to be wrong. I love to be wrong because it expands my mind.
Exactly.
Like, I think I know, and I know it's going to go, and it's like this, and then it falls apart. Or it's just the opposite. It's I don't know what that is. It's letting go of control, I think, and allowing
the journey,
the universe, power, force, God, whatever you label that,
right,
to co-create whatever's going to happen, so that it's even better, it's even bigger. It's not even what you thought it was going to be. It doesn't look like how you thought it was going to look.
There you go, right? Why have your beliefs be limited, right? It's those limiting beliefs that hold us back, and you can buy in and become the victim of struggle, or you can just be open and say, I'm meant for more. I'm going to play big and set your intentions, but you got to implement and do the work and create the action, like you just said, and then you could be surprised yourself, right? It's really exciting stuff.
The light is one of my favorite things. It's like, oh, I didn't even see that. That's cool.
Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah. Fun, right?
Yeah, this like I like that you said this doesn't have to be hard and it shouldn't be a struggle. And being an entrepreneur, it should because it's your passion. They say that it shouldn't feel like work.
Well, it
You know,
takes effort.
I
Oh,
really
don't
believe
get
that.
me
Yeah,
wrong.
effortless.
It takes effort. It takes energy. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
that's
you have
enough.
no. It's not easy.
It takes energy, and it takes, I think, resilience and persistence and tenacity and all the things that it takes to um, move yourself out of or through the sea of mundane.
Mm.
We kind of live in a sea of it's be comfortable, it's okay, don't put out that much effort. Did you relax today? Some of it, I'm not saying it's not. Again, I'm saying it's a paradox. You got to have some, and you got to have some other, but it's our society is not encouraging us to be excellent or encouraging us to be as big as our potential. It actually does the opposite.
Yeah,
In every way possible.
yeah, that makes sense. Being success is a choice.
Yeah.
I think you have to really be intent about it. Otherwise, everybody would be successful.
Both feet in.
Right? All in, baby. Play to win. I mean, I'm
Burn out.
play to win, or I don't play at all. If I don't win, I'm not playing.
Right. I always say any game worth playing is a game worth losing.
Okay.
So you're always playing to win, but you might not always win. And that still makes the game totally worth playing.
Exactly.
Because it brings so much more depth to your life. Or for me, it brings so much more depth to my life and my relationships and my clients. And the more I develop that way, the more I can bring in and share with them.
Absolutely. It's called experiences, right? Nobody can take away your experiences. I say that all the time. I've done a lot in my life and I own it, whether and not be attached. What I've learned, which has been so key to me, Anne, is in this leadership course I'm in, is not to be attached to the results. That events are just neutral and it's how we perceive them and respond to them and take it in. And like we have that choice and it's not attached, you're not attached. Like even you were doing enrollment conversations or whatever, not being attached to whether they enroll with you or not, that you're just out for their best interest. And if you really believe in that, then that comes across authentically. And if it's not for everyone. So if you just know that going in, I think things happen a lot smoother without that struggle and you don't become salesy or you're not pitching people. And I've really learned a lot about that.
I think, to me, sales is a lot about listening and hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Even branding, same thing. I'm listening to my clients talk. And they'll say, I go, oh, that was really interesting. Did you hear that thing you just said? And they'll be like,
what?
They do like the Scooby-Doo. It's like, oh yeah, that was complete genius. And I'll just kind of maybe, I'll tweak it a little bit.
What is it that you always say that the hook or something? What is the hook?
Head whipping hook. Yeah.
Wait, say it again.
Head whipping hook.
Whipping hook.
You have a message when you're speaking in sound. You need to speak in sound bites because we all say too much, so it becomes like wah wah wah. There's too much noise. But when you can speak in sound bites, and I call them head whipping hooks, I help my clients write those things. So it just says exactly what it is, and it has a little twist of curiosity.
Head whipping hooks.
Like it's smart to fit in, but it's brilliant and profitable to stand out is the classic one that I've written for myself. But I help my clients write, there's signature talks and these head whipping hooks because you want your brand to actually be a head whipping, personality, right? So like, so when you come in the room, whether you're loud or whether you're quiet, it makes no difference. I know we've all been with people that have a presence that when they come into a room, they don't walk into a room, they come into the room and their energy spreads out and takes up the whole space. That's a brilliant brand. And they're just being themselves.
Without saying a word.
Yeah, they don't say anything usually, right? They're not the ones that the loudest usually or the brightest. But you see them.
Confident, yeah.
Because there's a presence and a confidence because they're totally grounded in who they are. That's powerful. That's what I work with for my clients. That's what
so
I
you
want.
help them ground themselves and gain that inner confidence so that they don't have to say anything. They just be, right? They just be. And it's an energy.
Right. I joke about training them to do signature talks. And I was like, you have arrived when you just go quack, quack, quack. And they're like, I want to be with you. Because it's not what you're saying exactly. It's really about the essence of your energy, how you're being with people, that connection that we're talking about. You don't have to say a lot to do that, but you do have to be vulnerable. You have to be open.
Yep. So critical.
You can't be hiding behind the wall of your personality or how smart you are, because we won't connect. We'll see a wall. Human beings are extremely sensitive to energies. That's why we love little kids, because they're just like totally, they're like out there, right? And you're like,
you have no filters.
Yeah, great.
Talk about being authentic, right? They just say it exactly how it is, whether you like it or not. They're not attached to the outcome or the results
at all. They're just doing their thing
out of innocence
and being who they are. And I think that's my ultimate goal, I guess, for myself and for my clients, is that you could stand up in front of a room of people and be energy, have people be attracted to you with really not saying much, if anything.
I like
and
that.
Head whipping hooks kind of do that. The head whipping hooks don't exactly beam people in, but what they do is cause this interruption up here of, what did they just say?
What?
Before they kind of can figure out what you just said, their heart is like, oh, I love that. So that's what causes that head whipping dynamic.
Powerful.
It's like you circumvent the head and you go straight here and say something that's that interrupts the normal conversation. Like when I said, it's all about me. Because we're all taught it's all about the client. It's all about them. It's all about them. But how do you get there? You have to go over here really deep. And then allow, and obviously you have a service.
Power to the girls.
There you go.
I wore that for you. I wore that just for you, Ann.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Power to the girls. I know, I just popped out of my closet. I'm like, this is what I meant to wear today. I'm interviewing Ann Bennett. Yes, power to the girls. No, that's really powerful stuff. So what would your ideal client look like then? If you were to describe that person.
Oh, my ideal client. I love to work with people who are, they have a purpose, a feeling that they want to make a bigger impact with whatever their service is. And they understand that they're going to break some rules to get there. In fact, they want to do that. They might not be doing it to the level that they want to be doing it right now, but of course I push them. A little
Not
bit.
you.
In a nice way. But it's like encouragement and pushing and then telling them. But I think I love to work with people that really they want to make a bigger impact. Their whole thing is a bigger impact. And they have this what I call divine dissatisfaction. And maybe not quite sure why they're just satisfied, because things could look really good. But they're not satisfied.
Inside,
they want
maybe?
to upset the status quo in some way. So that the part of that idea that I was talking about, what breaks your heart and what pisses you off, is really about breaking things that aren't right. There's things that aren't right. They should not be that way, right? They have that, let me show you how it could be different, right? Let me show you this way. And those are my favorite people. I love them.
Well, and then they're attracted to you.
So we're not quite my people.
What's that? Say that again?
Selling a bar of soap.
Those aren't your people?
Not really my people. Although, you know, I've had some clients that do, and I have them write things that are bigger. So they stand for something bigger than a bar of soap.
Right.
It's not the bar of soap that people are buying. They're buying a bigger idea of who they are and who they could be. And that's the realm in which we work on the branding.
I love that. So good. So good. What did you like? How did you get to this point? Like, to develop this whole rebel attitude and the renegade branding? Like, what brought you to that? Because I know you did things in the past, so everything leads to where you are now. I'm just curious.
Yeah, a long history of breaking the rules. I was just thinking about that the other day because I was trying to write something about my childhood.
Okay.
I actually wish my parents were alive and I could ask them their perception of what I was like as a kid. But
we can only imagine.
I remember that I always thought that I should be able to do whatever it is I want to do. Like, why can't I have that? Or why isn't it this way? I always wanted something. There was always this want, this dissatisfaction with however things were. Little girls were supposed to be doing this and that. You know, my father was from the South. He's from Texas. So, you know, women had a kind of like this area to play in.
Okay.
And I was always like, nah, not doing that. Give me over here, you know. But I think, you know, my background is I'm an artist, and I worked for many years in New York City magazines and telling stories and being in photography and laying out the magazines, how they're going to look. So there's a lot of storytelling that I have. But I was thinking about it, like, I was always the kid that saw stuff different. Did you ever feel that way? I never really fit in, and I just saw it a little bit different than however the mainstream was moving.
Norm. Yes.
You know, and I used to
Of course, look at me. Hello.
I used to come home crying, you know, to my mother, like, why is it this way, and why the kids don't like me, and that kind of stuff. And she'd go, because you're unique. Because you're unique.
I love that. That's one of my favorite words, unique.
It was like, unique. It's like, nobody wants to be unique. They want to fit in. You know, unique is like unicorns. I mean, maybe that's cool now, but that wasn't cool.
Back then, yeah, I know.
When I was going through the ladder of education. So I think, you know, I say this sometimes just to get people's attention, actually. I never follow the rules. I never have, and I never will.
Perfect. We make the rules, baby. They're just suggestions anyways.
Essentially, they are suggestions. If you could look at that, I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who was like, listen to all the suggestions and then do whatever you want.
Oh, see? I love her. And do whatever you want.
Well, you could take a suggestion, but you've got to come over here and make a decision with your intuition, your heart, your desires. And nobody can really tell you that.
Powerful.
They like to try. Like, just try.
Right. I dare you.
Just try and make me.
You're so awesome. Oh my gosh, you kill me. So good. So you've been speaking all over and you get invited to speak everywhere. You do a lot of shows like this. I mean, I love that.
To be with people.
You're getting your message out there though. See, because more people need to learn that there is other opportunities to rebrand yourself or create a brand for yourself and use your uniqueness, not as a different thing. Be different and own it, stand into that, and then develop your passion and your purpose around it. I just love that. I've kind of innately done that myself without knowing the words that attach to it. But the more I learn and hang out with you guys, it all makes sense now. Before I just, I was just living my life and being who I am. And, how did you say that? Unapologetically.
Yeah, unapologetically
right?
You.
Unapologetically just being me. Yeah, who does that? Who does 10-time bodybuilding champions? Like one wasn't enough. I have to do it 10 times. Right. So ridiculous, right? Just to think that you're enough. Like when is enough? But now through all the training and getting coaches and mentors, and so for their audience listening, I mean, if you don't have a coach and mentor and someone that you want to learn from and level up who you are as a person, whether it's your relationship or your business or your branding, whatever it may be, there's people out there that specialize in this. And that's, Anne's thing is specializing in this renegade branding to really change and purpose your life.
Not calling.
Popular. So I think I think it's awesome. And people need to know that. So the more opportunities you have to speak out and be unique and be authentic and be this rebel, if that's what you choose to be, and step into your own power and then create something that's amazing. And you can have help. There's always people to help you. And I think that's great. We don't have to do it by ourselves. I used to do everything alone, and those days are over. There's no way. Those aren't, especially the technical stuff. Yeah, the rebel. Yes. Oh, but thank you. I used to say, by the time I teach someone to do what I do, I could have already done it. And I've lived that way for so long, but it was so limiting. So now, I mean, I'm looking for teams and just people to help me and do the parts that I don't want to do. I don't want to be a technical guru. I don't want to do websites. I don't want to do, landing pages and opt-ins, and that is not my genius. My genius is being the talent, like, here with you and just enlightening people and sharing, my gifts, which is not how to build a website. Thank goodness there are people that are, you know what I mean? It's just, but it took a while for me to finally get that, and getting coached and being in leadership and hanging out with people like you, and just to really pound that into me, like build a team, you don't do it alone. So if you're listening out there, really, I mean, listen to some of us, because we know that it's not a lone wolf job. You need to build and hang out and build a tribe of women that support you.
Most people, I guess I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people don't, and even if you really look, they don't do it by themselves, even though it might look like that.
Oh, I know. I thought all these people did it all alone, and now that I know them, they're like, "Are you kidding? They have a whole team,
right.
Copywriters,
in a particular way." But it is not like that.
No, they're the face, because I mean, if we just realize what our genius, I think that's where you come in too, Anne, is the branding part of it. And I love the questions and everything you ask, because then you become and you work at your genius, whatever you're meant to do, and just you stay in your own lane, they call that. Yeah. And then everything else will fall into place so much better. It's just an important piece. I mean, I didn't know this stuff before I got involved with all these, women entrepreneurs and all that just a couple of years ago. And I've learned so much personally just by diving in, showing up, being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, and just allowing myself to meet the people I'm supposed to meet, putting myself out there. I've never did a speech or anything. You came to my first event. I got there. I didn't even know what I was going to say. I just talk about being authentic. I just don't even have a script.
A lot of courage. You have a lot of courage.
Is that what they call it? It's great. Some people call me crazy.
Yeah, just get up and let it happen.
Just do it. Yeah. And it's because it's I don't know any different. And I think that's the thing. I just do whatever I want, like you. It's where we bond. We just make up our things as we go and hope for the best. And we're not attached to what happens. If you don't like me, great. If you do, great. I'm here. It's that simple. We don't have to make it hard. And I love that's what you said earlier, because it's so true. Just being open, being vulnerable, being authentic to who you are makes life so much easier. It's a lot more fun. And you get to connect with amazing people and keep learning along the way. You never stop learning. Never. especially in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Every time I like just get one level, I'm like, oh man, now there's this, now there's this. I just keep going.
As soon as you get to a certain point, you're like, I got this. It's all worked out. And then like, it's like
Yeah.
the next, you go to the next hill and the next hill. And I think that's what really makes entrepreneurs who they are, is that resilience and the movement, no matter how big and how small, they're moving, iterating at all times, iterate to awesome. It's never quite perfect.
And being okay with that.
Yeah, because as you grow, your business grows and your knowledge grows, everything changes.
Yeah.
It's always changing.
And that's what's exciting. This is why we do what we do. I love it. Right? Yay. So I know you have a gift. You lead with the heart and you're very generous. That's why you're my friend. Can you explain to what that is? Because
I have this
love gifts.
cool gift. So like all this thing, me too. I love gifts. So all this thing that we've been talking about, like your quirks, your theme, your life story, all these things go into what I call a client getting brand. So I put them together in some simple, fun exercises and things. So you read a little bit and then you write a little bit. And it's just a really cool piece that really gives people the beginning and the idea, or if you're really a go-getter, you can run out and start working on it. And it's just called Client Getting Brand.
Client Getting Brand.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite things about it is the question about what are your quirks, or let your freak flag fly.
You kill me.
That's how I like to say it. But it's like, what are you quirky? What are your quirks? Like, what are the things that you don't tell other people that you might enjoy doing or like to do? Like we were touching on it with the Barbie doll collection and things like that, right?
So where does that fit in? The stuff that you don't like doing, how is that related to your brand? I'm curious.
That's not what you don't like doing. It's what you like to do, but you don't tell other people about it.
Oh, the hidden secret. And like,
yeah.
Okay.
It's like the hidden secret, or what we consider the dirty little secret is, I have 5 different types of dark chocolate bars in my refrigerator because I love dark chocolate, right? There's one for every day. Oh, Monday's this one, Tuesday's this one. You know what I mean? That's like, I just made that up, but I mean, that's like something quirky about you.
Okay. And then you take that, and that's how do you develop connections?
That's how you start to develop your brand. So it's kind of like a little recipe. So this particular giveaway, this gift I have for you guys, is like a little recipe of like what breaks your heart, what pisses you off. You get to write some things. What is quirky about you that you don't share with other people. You get to write some things, and you start to be able to see yourself and go, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's actually my brand. Like I say, you're either a disruptor, like you and I, disruptor, a nurturer, a geek, or an innovator are the 4 personality styles. So it'll give you a way of identifying who you are to yourself.
Okay. I love it.
You kind of identify people in 5 minutes or less, but.
That's right. So how do they get it? Clientgettingbrand.com or what? How?
Yeah.
You'll send me the link. I know.
Yeah,
we'll put the link in the bio.
Clientgettingbrand.com.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Any last words you want to add to the Power Hour? Because we're at the top of the hour. You and I can talk forever.
I know.
Same with all my speakers. We just blah, blah, blah.
How it all just kind of unravels is fantastic.
Exactly. It's all authentic. We don't have a script. We didn't talk about questions. We didn't do anything. I said, let's just go in, hit record, and here we are. That's the best. And my whole team has been that way.
Yeah, I think that's great. It allows us to be ourselves.
Exactly.
I'm not like thinking of what's the next question you're going to ask me. I have no idea. So it's really fun.
And neither do I. Neither do I.
I think the thing for people is to just understand that you're really whole, perfect, and complete. That everything you already are and everything that you already have and everything, all the things that you've done and all the experiences you've had have made you the incredible person that you are today. That's really, you know,
the message.
I don't share this too often, but I mean, my work to me is all about love. It's all about allowing and showing and mirroring for someone else how incredible they actually are, how precious they are, and the value that they actually have.
So good. That's so good. I'm gonna get emotional. I just love that. Yeah. Yay. It's all about the love. So you heard it with Miss Ann Bennett. Thank you, Ann, so much for being a guest on the Power Hour. You were amazing. So many golden nuggets. I was taking notes. I hope you guys were taking notes. You're going to get a free gift. And it's all about being impactful through love and making it fun and easy, right?
Yep. That's simple.
And I can't wait to go surfing with you. You owe me a surfing date.
You got it. I'll be
Yes. All right, everyone. Again, thanks for staying to the end. And we love you guys. Again, the operative word here is love. I even have my heart earrings on because we are all about the love. Love is power. So thanks, Ann, again. Love you guys. Thanks for joining us.